The scene tonight just after 8 o'clock in Florida. Tonight, the large crowd of supporters welcoming the former President Donald Trump back home to Mar-a-Lago just hours after his arraignment in New York City, making world headlines. It was a history-making appearance in New York. Donald Trump, now the first former president to ever be arraigned. He's charged with 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree. All those counts are a felony. We have team coverage for you tonight, including reaction on what these charges could mean for politics here in Kentucky. But first, ABC's Melissa Adon reports on the unprecedented day from West Palm Beach near Mar-a-Lago.
The former president holding a speech inside his Palm Beach estate, addressing a crowd full of political supporters and the media for about 25 minutes inside Mar-a-Lago. An unprecedented day in American history has concluded as former President Donald Trump, who is once again seeking to become commander-in-chief, currently has a new title: criminal defendant. Inside Mar-a-Lago, Trump addressing the arraignment in New York State Supreme Court.
I never thought anything like this could happen in America. Never thought it could happen.
The former president pleading not guilty to 34 state felony charges that he repeatedly and fraudulently falsified New York business records to conceal criminal conduct that hid damaging information from the voting public during the 2016 presidential election. Trump reacting to those charges.
The only crime that I have committed is to fearlessly defend our nation from those who seek to destroy it.
He traveled back to Florida immediately after his court appearance, greeted by some supporters on his return. Prosecutors allege Trump orchestrated a criminal scheme with his former lawyer and fixer Michael Cohen and his friend, former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker, to pay hush money to at least 3 people, including porn actress Stormy Daniels.
A catch and kill scheme. That is a scheme to buy and suppress negative information to help Mr. Trump's chance of winning the election.
The former president's lawyers insisting this is a political persecution.
Well, everyone is not above the law. No one's below it either. And if this man's name was not Donald J. Trump, there is no scenario we'd all be here today. Please understand that based on these charges.
The next court date is set for December 4th, with the trial expected to begin in January, meaning that will go through the election year. Melissa Adon, ABC News, West Palm Beach.
So now tonight our coverage continues here at home, where Kentucky political experts are weighing in on what this means for the former president and for the Republican frontrunners in the highly contentious governor's race. 2 of them have close ties to Donald Trump. WHAS 11 Night Team's Bobby McSwine is here with that story. And Bobby, you talked to a U of L professor who really specializes in local and state politics. What does he think?
Well, Dr. Dewey Clayton predicts that the news will not hurt either candidate. In fact, he says it might bolster support because of the stronghold the former president has in Kentucky.
This is clearly Trump country.
Kentucky, where former President Donald Trump won by a nearly 30% margin in 2020 over President Joe Biden. A state where U of L political science professor Dr. Dewey Clayton says Trump can't fail.
This is something that actually will probably, in the short term anyway, clearly benefit former President Trump and many people that support him.
And there are 2 big supporters in Kentucky's governor's race: GOP frontrunners Kelly Craft and Attorney General Daniel Cameron. Cameron receiving Donald Trump's endorsement last summer, sharing his message on Twitter. In response to Trump's indictment, Cameron issued a statement saying, "Like many Kentuckians, I'm appalled by the political weaponization of our justice system against President Trump." He goes on to say that the move, quote, appeases the desires of the far left. Kraft, the former Trump-appointed ambassador, tweeted this days ago: "Leftists will stop at nothing, including political prosecution, to stop President Donald Trump."
Some people may look at this as being politically motivated. Like I said, I don't know if that's actually the case or not, but if people perceive it that way and decide they want to, 1, open up their wallet, and 2, it will motivate them.
Clayton says the reason for the charges could further that belief because supporters may not feel the alleged hush money payment warrants jail time. Simmons College Chief of Staff J. Michael Brown speaking on WHAS 11 News at 5.
And then what they're saying was the underlying payment and the entry of those records was to cover up another offense. That other offense is not nearly as clear, at least from what I've learned today.
So a lot of people don't see that as rising to the level of really being like a major crime or a felony and may not understand the actual intricacies.
And January polling from the Mason-Dixon polling company show Governor Andy Beshear holds a significant lead over GOP contenders. Clayton says only time will tell if the dynamics will shift because of Trump. In studio, Bobby McSwine, the WHAS 1119 on your side.
Interesting views there tonight. Thank you, Bobby. We'll check out all of the WHAS 11 digital accounts for in-depth coverage of today's historic events involving Donald Trump. From WHAS11.com to our WHAS 11 YouTube page, you will find stories and complete news conferences. New tonight, 2 people were rushed to the hospital after a shooting in Louisville's Parkland neighborhood of the West End. An LMPD spokesperson says officers responded to the shooting on Catalpa Street near Woodland Avenue at about 8:15 tonight. When they got there, they found a man and a woman who had both been shot several times. Police say the man has critical injuries. The woman was shot in the lower part of her body, but she's expected to survive. Investigators are asking anyone with information to call the anonymous tip line at 574-LMPD. Also happening new tonight on the night team, multiple fire departments were called in for a fire tonight at this St. Matthews apartment complex. This was the scene at the Jamestown Apartments off Breckenridge Lane at about 8:30. St. Matthews Mayor Rick Tanini, who also speaks for the fire department, tells us a resident left the apartment with food on the stove, and when she came back, they were in flames. There were flames in the apartment. Now you can see the damage left behind on the outside of the building. Investigators are working to determine an official cause of the fire. We are told that nobody was hurt there in St. Matthews. Nearly a month since the U.S. Department of Justice revealed its report on LMPD and Metro government, Simmons College of Kentucky here in Louisville is taking a step toward combating racial disparities in our city. Today, Louisville's only HBCU announced the Jesse L. Jackson Senior Center for Racial Justice. It's named after the famed civil rights and political activist who was here in Louisville and sat in the audience today. Simmons College President Dr. Kevin Cosby says the DOJ report demands they take action, and this is step one.
To respond to the disparities that are foundational to the police misconduct in our city and in our nation.
Through the center, Simmons College hopes to educate people on systemic racism, create an avenue for people to advocate for change, and establish a system where Black Louisvillians can better work to improve public policy. DOJ members, by the way, are going to be returning to Louisville next week. They'll be holding a public community meeting next Wednesday, April 12th from 6 until 7:30 at the South Central Regional Library. You can also talk with the DOJ team on a walk-in basis on Tuesday or Thursday. For the first time, we're now hearing from the Nashville, Tennessee police officers who shot and killed the school shooter. They credit their training for their quick response, which has received praise nationwide.
Once we started hearing the first shots, that's when everything kind of kicked into overdrive for us.
Officer Michael Colazzo and Officer Rex Engelbert are credited with stopping the shooter at the Covenant School last week. Today, they joined other responding officers to share what they remembered about that day. Investigators have said the shooter, Audrey Hale, killed 3 students and 3 staff members before police shot and killed Hale. Officer Engelbert said he still had not finished his coffee when he got the call.
I don't know how many false active deadly aggression calls. Something told me it was time to really get to this one. I treat them all the same, but I was driving as safely as I could get my body there.
Police said Hale also shot at officers, but none were hurt. Chief John Drake of Nashville Police said today the situation could have been different if not for the officers' brave response, dispatchers, and the school staff's active shooter training.